Hi everyone and welcome. I'm Diane and my passion is painting and creating in my studio. Every day I share a video with you on YouTube in which I paint and create all sorts of nature-inspired pictures. I also share loads of tips on how to make the most of your painting journey, interrupted fairly frequently by our family of dogs, cats, chickens and sheep. So welcome on board, click subscribe and turn on notifications and let's learn to paint watercolour. So today I've got my paper napkins here with these interesting antique type of designs on and a jar of Mod Podge, and I'm going to put together a background for the painting for today. So I'm going to just apply fairly thickly the glue, the Mod Podge ground here all over the paper. It's just an ordinary sheet of stretched fairly thin watercolour paper, and I'm going to cover the paper fairly evenly with the glue, and then I'm going to choose one of the paper napkins and I'm going to tear it up basically and stick it down to give us a nice random antique look to our background. So I think I'll go with this one, which has got plenty of space on it for the painting I'm going to put over the top, and I'm going to separate the top layer from the layers underneath. Because you can't use the whole thing to stick down. If you do, it'll separate and it won't stick down properly. So we need to just pull them apart, and then we can glue the top one down. So just like that. And so I'm going to decide where I'm going to position it, and that's maybe I haven't got glue in every part of the. Need to make sure I've covered the whole paper, otherwise it won't stick properly, although you can put Mod Podge on top once you've started to lay the whole thing down, just to make sure that it's fully covered. That's the main thing. So I think we'll put this something like that, but I'm going to have to tear it in half, I think, for this to work. So I'll just rip that down the middle, going with the grain of the paper, and then and just put that at an angle so that we get the feature of the, I think it's a stamp at the bottom and whatever that is at the top there. There's a lot of these napkins around. You can buy them easily on Etsy or eBay, or I don't know if Amazon has them, I expect so. And every design under the sun you can find. And these were some I bought a few years ago when I was doing some Annie Sloaning and some decoupage. And I had these left over, and came across them the other day when I was tidying up the studio. And yeah, so I thought, well, that would make a nice background for a painting of a butterfly. So here we go. We're going to make a background for a butterfly. So we'll just tear off another piece and put that down at a completely different angle. And the whole point of this is we're making a kind of random pattern on the back there. I mean, you could stick the whole thing on in one piece, but it's a little bit more interesting if you kind of build up your own design using the paper, filling in all the gaps. So I'll just tear the pieces roughly to shape and then glue them down. And like I say, if you put the glue over the top as well as underneath, then that gives you quite a good ground to paint on. It actually says in the instructions that you can paint on top of it, which is, I thought that was quite surprising, really. It seems to be kind of plasticky stuff, but it's actually quite absorbent. So there we are. That's pretty much that. So while I'm waiting for the first one to dry, I'm going to prepare another background, And this time I'm going to do it just slightly differently. I'm going to wet the paper first of all and then apply the Mod Podge on top of that. And then I'm going to use some beautiful pink roses, and I'm going to make a little bit more detailed background by using quite a lot of different texture and so on and so forth. And then we will paint another butterfly on top of that when that's ready. So I'll just let this run through quickly, and I'll meet you at the end. So now we have background number 2, and we'll go back to number 1. So my little decoupaged piece of paper is now dry. I finished it off with a hairdryer, so it's more or less dry. And I have put a border around it so that you can see that that's what's underneath. But when you put a mount around it, you can position that so that you see the bits that you like the best. So I could come down here and have the rose and less of what's up the top, for example, like that. And anyway, so you can play around with that however you like. And so this gives you a background to work with. And then if you're unsure about your design, which of course we all are all the time, you're bound to have some other paintings around that you can photocopy. And I've just photocopied a couple of butterflies, which I can see I can put them on there. And when I could stick those on there as they are, and that would give me a nice vintage appearance, a sort of antiqued type of design. You could do that, and indeed you might. Or you could try painting directly onto the Mod Podge. And I did look it up to find out whether you can, and indeed you can. So I'm going to try it. So I think I might need a fairly soft pencil. So I'm going to see if I can seek one out. That's not pencils. Where are my pencils? Pencil. There we go. There's a 4B. A 4B. Okay, so let me see if I were to draw the body first, like that, and then the wing. And obviously you've got texture underneath. You can hear it sort of catching. So you're going to get the texture in the paint when we come on with the paint. Whoops, I've done that a bit too big. I've been tidying up and I can't find anything. Okay, so let's say that's butterfly number 1, and we're going to take a paintbrush or 2 and we'll wet it and we'll see what happens. It's coming with some good old quinacridone gold, see? And then we could, following on with the green theme, we could pick up some Booker's green mixed with violet and just go around the edges. and let that bleed, and also use that for the body. A little bit more up there. And perhaps more of the gold. I feel I want to make this a bit bigger. Let me just put a dark tip to the wings. So that's number one, and when that's dry, it'll obviously dry lighter, so we'll come back in and darken it up a little bit, sharpen up the design. And then we need to put another one down here. Whoops, did I just sit on a cat? Oh no, just a hairdryer. No, do you? Let's just try this with the frame on it, so we know whether we've got enough space. So it's going to go like that, and then we'll put a smaller one down here, I think. That's the body, and wing. Coming in like that, out. That. And then the top is going to go over that flower. Excuse me. I'm going to do it the same basic colour, so the quinacridone gold again. And then we'll put green on top. It's quite fun actually putting the paint into the tissue paper, because it bleeds and runs in a fairly unexpected manner. And I don't know whether this is going to work or not at the moment, but I do think that this is the point at which we need to leave it to dry. So we'll do that. I think it's lunchtime. Okay, so now I'm going to do the butterfly on the second background that I prepared. And I'm going to do this more or less in one colour, and then I'm going to put some iridescent medium on top of it to make it all sparkly. So I'm just coming in with some fairly strong quinacridone mauve, and then I'm just going to build this up a little bit, mix it with some quinacridone gold, and then when that's dry I will go over the top with some iridescence. So I'm just outlining the shape of the butterfly with pen pigment liner. And I've put some iridescent medium on there. I might put a bit more. And the quinacridone gold mixed with purple, quinacridone purple, is a beautiful colour. So there we are. That was my experiment for the day. You have been watching creativity in its rawest form. Mistakes all over the place, but I'm hoping this is going to form the foundation for some future work. And I hope that it might have sparked some ideas for you. I'm sure that you can think of plenty of ways of improving on this embryonic idea. I'm quite pleased with the way some of these colours have reacted and interacted together. I think it gives a really interesting vintage type of appearance, and I don't know, it just adds a certain something, and I think it could be developed into something quite attractive. This would work really well if you wanted to cover a book that you didn't like the cover of, a sketchbook or something like that you wanted to personalise and give it a sort of semi-durable surface, because this Mod Podge is really waterproof, and it's amazing stuff actually, because it's kind of waterproof but you can still paint on it, which is remarkable. So I totally am very much in favour of this stuff. It's really good. Something I'm sure most of you have got some of it actually. I didn't even know it existed till a few years ago, but I really like it. Okay, so there we are. 2 experimental works. So thank you very much everyone for watching me do this work today, and I hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to comment below if you did enjoy it, and give me a like and subscribe, and also turn on notifications if you want to hear about every video when it comes up. And I'll just say goodbye for now then everyone, and I'll see you again tomorrow. So bye bye for now. Bye bye.